Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, welcome to another reading video. We're currently joined by Biko. He's just here. Oh, he's just leaving us now. That's really inconvenient that he just did that. I've been trying to take my thumbnail for the past 5 minutes and he's just been blocking it. Okay, well, you might hear him humming in the background. I'm not using my mini mics because I'm about to go on Gracie tour tomorrow as I'm filming this. So they're charging because I'm going to use them on that tour. So I'm going to do a reading wrap up. This intro has been so bad. I'm sorry if this is the first video you're watching of mine. I'm going to talk about all the books that I read in February because it's now March. I'm filming this on the 2nd of March. You're seeing this, I think, the 6th. You're seeing this the 6th. So lucky you. Happy 6th. I'm seeing Gracie the day that you're watching this, but I read 15 books in Feb. I feel like that's pretty good. I was on holiday. I think I read 5 books whilst I was away because I was reading about a book a day-ish, and this has really annoyed me. So if you've never watched one of my reading wrap-up videos, I haven't done too many, so it's not like you've missed a lot, but they're all in the description in the book folder. Anyway, I just kind of go down, tell you the books that I read, a little summary, brief synopsis, what I thought, what I rated it. That's it. I hope it's not too long of a video. I don't need to spend too long yattering. 15 books though, I've got a few to get through, so. Okay, getting right into it. The first book that I read was The Charlie Method by Elle Kennedy. This is the 3rd book in the Campus Diaries series. I actually received an ARC for it. It came out on the 25th of Feb. I read it. It was the first book I read in Feb, so I read it a little bit before it came out. I gave it 4.5 stars. I think 4. I think I settled on 4. I can't quite remember. It was such a hard book. I've never read anything like it before. Basically, it is one girl and 2 boys in the relationship. It's not a love triangle, it's literally a polyamorous relationship. Never read about that before. I was never like opposed to it. I've never had a book recommended to me that's that genre. That, I don't know, you know what I mean, that trope, that's the right word. So I love Charlie, she's the main girl, and then Will and Beckett are the boys. Loved all of them. I just think the execution was what I didn't like as much. I loved the relationship. I thought their dynamic was really good. I think it was just the execution almost, but I did think it was really good. I thought it was so addictive. I had never read anything like that before, and there was kind of not even a 3rd act breakup, but there was kind of conflict, I guess, which I was like, I actually have no idea what's gonna happen. It wasn't predictable whatsoever, so that was really good. There was just some side plots which felt very unnecessary. I feel like sometimes Elle Kennedy likes to add a few side plots, and this time it was just kind of odd, but also there wasn't much focus on hockey. So the side plot usually in a sports romance is kind of talk about the hockey and the hockey games, but that wasn't even spoken about that much, and I do like that normally in a hockey romance, so bear that in mind. And also with the kind of weird side plots, they just created so much drama that I feel like was not necessary, and the reading experience wasn't quite as good as it could have been. But again, I still gave it 4 stars, so it was still a really good book. I would recommend the whole series. I did really like it. Just a few criticisms, but honestly it was really good. Then I read some of the movies, so I did vlog this. This was in my mood reading for a week video, so actually I'll link it in It's This Corner, which the Charlie Method and Best of the Movies was in that video. I did a lot of reading vlogs, so I'll like signal to you all about the different reading vlogs that different books were in case you want to see kind of my running feelings. Anyway, self-plug is over. Best of the Movies, this was a reread. I'd read it in October 2021, I believe. No, October 2022. So it had been 2 and a bit years, and I liked it. I gave it 4 stars. It was honestly just such a cute rom-com, giggling, kicking my feet. So if you don't know the premise, Wes and Liz are the couple, and they live on the same street. They live next door to each other, and they used to be friends, and then they're almost enemies, but like it's so loose enemies. Like they don't hate each other that much, and Liz likes this other guy who's just moved back into town that they knew from their childhood. So Wes agrees to kind of help her get in with the crowd because Wes is more popular, does all the sports, and Liz is less so she doesn't get invited to all these parties, which this boy, Michael is he called, is going to be at. So it goes from there. It was cute, giggling, kicking my feet. I did really like it. The chapters, can I just say, are so long, but in Nothing Like the Movies, which I read next, they're not long. I don't know what that was all about. Anyway, in Nothing Like the Movies, I gave it 4 stars as well. So this was in a reading booktok books. So again, I'll link it in the video. Then the next, I think 4 books were in that video. So Nothing Like the Movies, I thought it was good. I gave it 4 stars. My only issue was it didn't really feel like them. I love Liz and Wes so much, and they're so cute, and it kind of didn't feel like them. I don't know, it was kind of realistic because it's kind of a second chance romance, so it's now when they're at college and there's been a few years, they've broken up. That is not a spoiler. You know, they're getting back together in it. Kind of. Thought it was good. I was kind of disappointed, but I will say that the ending definitely saved it. Throughout the whole book, I wasn't too much of a fan, but then the ending made it feel like it was better than the movies, and it was that couple, and that they were getting it back to where they should be, which is good, because when you read a sequel you want to read about the couple, you don't want it to be like feeling like a different couple, if that makes sense. So still really good. I would still really recommend them. I did actually read loads of really good books this month, so honestly I would recommend all of them for you. I'll tell you if I don't, but what I mean is most of the books I read were really good, you know, but some criticisms, but I feel like that happens most of the time unless it's a 5-star read. So then I read Happy Place. I gave this one 4.5 stars. I marked it as 5 stars on Goodreads, but it definitely wasn't. I just wrote 4.5. Also, Goodreads and Fable are linked in the description of all my videos in case you want them. A brief synopsis, just in case you don't know what it's about. Harriet and Wyn broke up 6 months ago, but they are part of a big friend group where there's 6 of them, and they always go to this summer house each year, and their friends don't know they broke up because they were just too scared to, because they're all a big friendship group. They just didn't want there to be drama, you know, whatever. So they agree to almost fake date for one last summer, and then when the trip ends, well actually no, they're not even agreed to fake date. Harriet and Wyn agree that Harriet's gonna go to the house, but they agree they're gonna still pretend that they're together, but that Wyn just couldn't make the trip. But when Harriet gets there, Wyn is there, and it wasn't planned because some of their friends said like, you need to come. Sabrina was the girl, I don't even remember what the guy was called. They said you need to come. So Wyn's there, they're now having to pretend that they're still together, and obviously you're kind of rekindling all the feelings. So you get the present day when they are fake dating, pretending to still be together, and you also get the past tense. It's running from when they met all the way up through the relationship, and you kind of find out why it broke down. There's a lot of miscommunication. I'm not a fan of miscommunication, not that I think anyone is, but I'm really not a fan of it. So that was sometimes like, can you please not? But at the end of the day, it was still really good. I feel like it had been so overhyped. I was expecting an instant 5-star read, and it was really good. 4.5 stars, obviously incredible, but it didn't quite hit the 5 stars. But what I will say is that out of all the Emily Henry books I've read, which I've read all of them apart from Funny Story, I've just read all of them up to Happy Place. So You and Me on Vacation, or People with Me on Vacation, whatever you want to call it. I don't know why there's 2 different names. Then Happy Place, Book Lovers, and Beach Read. I said that in the wrong order. I've read all of them. This book, I will say, definitely felt like the characters were the most real, raw. I saw myself in both of them, which I did like, and I feel like that is why a lot of people give it 5 stars, because the characters are very vulnerable and they feel very real. So I will give it that. I'm saying that as if I rated it badly. 4.5 stars is still so good, but that is what kind of brought it up, made it really good. But yeah, the miscommunication was kind of the only thing that put me off, because I kind of understand why it happened, but also again, it could have not been. And I know the miscommunication was there so that they could, obviously Emily Henry obviously had to make it miscommunication so that they could break up and have this whole storyline. I know that it was intentional by Emily Henry, but it was just kind of, if you know each other that well, like you're saying, if you were that close and connected, how do you not understand that you cope with things differently? That was kind of my only thing, where I was like, how, you're saying that you understand this person so much, and in other areas you understand so much, but when it gets to this one situation, suddenly you don't know how the other reacts, and that's why you break up. That doesn't make sense. Anyway, I do actually own Happy Place. It's right there. I forgot to get it out of the bookshelf. I'm trying to get the next book off here, but it's wedged in. So we'll just have to leave it a bit messy. Okay, If He'd Been With Me, 3.25 stars. I don't know why I grin saying that. This book, yeah. So again, brief summary. Autumn and Finn / Finny. Autumn calls him Finny. Let's just call him Finn for the sake of all of us. Autumn and Finn's mums are best friends, and they live next door, and they kind of were raised together because Finn doesn't have a dad, or at least not in the picture, and Autumn's dad is constantly away at work. So they were kind of raised, I don't want to say as siblings, but kind of very close-knit, always celebrating all the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, 4th of July, you know, all of it, always together. So they were very tight-knit and close, and now they've gone to high school. Also, they were best friends for a very long time, and then they go to high school, and Autumn was in middle school kind of with the popular girls, but suddenly she decides to go off and okay, this is what really bugged me. She decides to be in the weird group. Is there anything wrong with that? No. What I didn't like was that she constantly, her goal in life was to be weird and to be just act weird and do things that people thought were weird, because her goal was to be weird. Obviously some people are just weird, everyone's weird, it doesn't matter, but it was the way that that was her goal. That's what I was reading. I was like, shut up. Anyway, and Finn kind of goes off into the sports world, you know, he's becoming popular, so they're very separate, and they both get in relationships, and it takes place over the whole of high school, and it just shows how their relationship, mainly friendship, honestly fluctuates and how it changes. I will say Autumn's boyfriend throughout the book, can someone that man please? I actually hate him. He's so sexist. If you watched the video where I was reacting to it, you will know that I actually hate that man, and I was ranting about him so much because he's just so gross. And we didn't get much of Finn and his relationship because in the next book it's in his point of view and it's the same story. I will say that at the start it tells you how it's going to end basically, and so there's a little bit at the end that is not shown in the start, but the first couple of pages does tell you how it's going to end. So I just felt like I couldn't really connect with the characters because I knew how it was going to end. I don't know if that's just me, so I just kind of struggled to connect, and I didn't find that bit sad because I knew it was coming. Obviously in itself is very sad, but because I knew it was coming I wasn't shocked sad. But then what happened afterwards was very sad. There were a few plot holes that didn't make sense biologically of how that happened so quickly. If you've read the book, I hope you know what I'm talking about. It didn't make sense. I will also say that it is a YA book, and it did feel very, dare I say, childish. Just the writing style and the tone, it felt very matter of fact, which I think was the goal, and it made for a very quick read, but it just felt like she was very immature basically. So would I recommend it? I'd say try it. It wasn't awful, I didn't hate it, but it wasn't incredible. I'm not going to go around recommending it. The next book I read was The Guest List by Lucy Foley, which I gave 3.75 stars. So brief summary again, Jules and Will are getting married on this deserted island off of Ireland, and it's, well, I guess it's deserted, yeah, that was the right word. So there's this almost house manor thing that this couple have bought, not Will and Jules, the couple that owns it, and then Will and Jules are kind of renting it out. So the wedding planner and her husband, who own the house, are there on this island, and Will and Jules, and then Will and Jules' family, and then all the wedding guests. So I think they had 200 wedding guests or something, so typically it's only the wedding planner and her husband. They're both rich, famous, and there are a few issues that arise kind of throughout the book, and then a body is found. A dead body is found. So in the book, you are in the present day just after the body has been found. In that present day, you're in third person, so you don't know who died, you don't know who killed them, you don't really know anything, you just know someone's been found. And then in the past tense, it's just from the day before. You're in a few point of views. You're in the wedding planner's point of view, the bride, sister of the bride, and you're in someone else's. Oh yeah, just this guest. She is connected in the story, but she's a guest. So you don't know who did it, but everyone's lives are connected in ways that aren't just related to the bride and groom, because obviously, yes, people are connected because they're both at a wedding, but they're connected in a way that the bride and groom have nothing to do with, all related to a gross person. Well, not that a bride and groom don't have anything to do with it. It's not to do with whatever, just read the book and you'll find out. I will say for this book, I would say for a lot of books, honestly, that I read this month, I kept thinking, yeah, look up trigger warnings. I feel like if you are the type of person who gets triggered by books, it is good practice just to look up them for most books, because I never want to say it in a video, partly because YouTube and TikTok can take videos down if you mention certain topics, because obviously they're trigger warnings for a reason. People don't openly talk about them, at least because it's triggering basically. So I never want to say it, but look up that type of thing if you need to. In this book, there was a very explicit scene, and this is the one time in a book that I think if I knew the trigger warnings, I'd have still read it, I'd be more prepared, and it was one of the things that was quite triggering. So yes, it was very graphic, very not pleasant to read whatsoever. So I will say that. What I did anyway, getting back to the book, there were lots of different perspectives, which I did really like, because you were in the head and you just didn't know who did it and who was the victim. I really liked it, to be fair. Then I read Next of Kin by Hannah Byrne Young, and I gave this one 4 stars. I read this one basically in one sitting, and this was then in another video. I'll link it again. It was a random number generator, picks my reads. I really liked this, and then I read the second book later on, so I'll talk about that in a little bit. But in this book, Chloe and Warren both are becoming they are next of kin. They're kind of becoming guardians of their siblings. So Warren's brother Luke is 15, I believe, and he's deaf, and he's been going between foster homes, but they're just not catering for him. So Warren wants to take ownership, and that sounds really bad, take ownership. Warren wants to, I guess, be his formal guardian. And Chloe's was also in the foster system, and her mum has just given birth to a baby and is not able to keep the baby. So Chloe is kind of rung up because her mum says, can Chloe take the baby, basically? So Chloe now has a newborn baby on her hands to help deal with, in a way. And the issue is, and when they kind of connect, it's because to be next of kin guardian, you need to meet like financial, housing, something else requirements. Maybe that's the only two. I don't think it is. Chloe meets the housing requirement because she currently lives in the apartment that she did with her friends from uni. So there's 3 bedrooms, there's lots of space. It's a great place to live, but her only issue is that she has recently graduated and she's a freelance worker, and so her income basically isn't consistent enough for what are they called? CPS. She doesn't meet the financial CPS requirements. So CPS say you can't have your sister yet. Warren, on the other hand, meets the financial requirements because he works at a garage. He's a mechanic, so he has a consistent money flow, but his housing is not suitable for him and his brother to live, so he doesn't meet the housing requirements. So CPS have this little program where they partner people up. So they say, well, if you're both happy to, if Warren moves in with Chloe and then they've got kind of Warren's income helping Chloe if she needs it, then you can both have your siblings, and then there'll be a review in, I think it's 6 months time, to make sure everything's okay, and then they can kind of finalize it once Warren's found a place to live and once Chloe has got a more stable income, because she has only just graduated. So obviously it's new days, not everyone, she wasn't prepared to have a newborn baby, basically. And so it goes from there. I thought it was really cute. I've seen mixed reviews. I honestly don't have too much else to say about it, so I'm gonna put it back on my bookshelf because I would really recommend that. Hannah Bone & Young so far has been a consistent at least 4 stars, which is really good. Okay, next I read Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. This, again, trigger warning. This also very explicit. The first 50% is, I am not personally triggered by it, but it was still horrible to read, and I did not quite know that it was going to be that topic. I think I might have still read it, but I'd like to be more prepared. It's so hard. I gave it 4 stars, and I basically rated that based on the last half. So the book is split into 2 halves. The main character, what is she called? I'm so sorry, I'm so bad with names. I know the guy's called August and the other one's called Caleb, but what's she called? I can't remember. Also, I'm on Goodreads right now, and if you go on the Goodreads description, it does say the triggers at the bottom, so if you want a quick easy place to find them, look there. But Iris is the main character, and so in the first half she's in a relationship with Caleb, and it is not a good relationship, and Caleb is not the one she ends up with in the end. We know that. We're not in Caleb's point of view, thank God. The first half, very hard to read, horrible, and then the second half is Iris and August. So I kind of rated the book based on that half. I mean, it's still horrible, there's still the topics running through that, but it is more of a romance. The first half is not a romance. Don't go into it honestly hoping for a romance, because yes, there is one, but just don't go into it. Yeah, I think it's very important that these stories are shared, because unfortunately they are very real, and it's good to raise awareness of it. That's all I have to say, kind of. I don't want to go on too much about it. Then I read The Perfect Guy. I actually don't know where it is. I don't really care. I can see it, it's all the way, it's just there. And this was a really weird book. I actually don't know why I even owned it. I really don't know, but I gave it 2.5 stars. In it, Reagan is the female, and she is a Broadway star. She's trying to find her way on Broadway, I guess. And what's he called? Bastian is a prince of a European country, and he's just inherited the title, and he's going to rule the country, and he needs to marry someone and whatever. Reagan has found out that she can't have babies for much longer, almost kind of, she's got a ticking I was about to say ticking time bomb, is a lot quicker than the regular person. So she's decided that yes, it would be great to be in a relationship and to have a baby with that guy, and it'd be a lovely relationship, but in the end of the day she'd rather have a baby than wait to find the perfect guy. And so she decides she's going to hook up with someone and let them know straight away that she wants to have a baby. That is her goal in this relationship, you know, but she wants full ownership. She wants to be a single mother. So Bastian comes in, he's visiting New York, one thing leads to another. It was such a weird book, honestly, I wouldn't recommend. Then I read The Dirty Version by Turner Gable Khan. I received an ARC for this. I'm just gonna check when it comes out. I think it's July though. The 1st of July, okay. Brief summary, Tasha's the main female character. Tasha's book is being made into a TV show, and they want some intimate scenes in it, and Caleb is an intimacy director, and so he is hired to work with, what's she called again? Tasha. Oh my god, this book did not stick with me. Caleb is hired to work alongside Tasha to kind of help rewrite some scenes to make them more intimate, I guess. You know what I mean. And Tasha is honestly not a fan at first. The book is very feminist, empowering for women, and so she doesn't want, especially because the director of this TV show is, let's say, not a feminist, and so she doesn't want anything to be changed. She likes it, she likes the message, and she kind of thinks this is going to ruin the book, but at the end of the day she'd rather work with Caleb and at least have some control. Caleb's not the non-feminist one. Anyway, I thought it was okay. I think the premise is really fun. I just think the execution wasn't there. I don't know whether that's because the book is obviously probably still being edited. It comes out in a long time, so maybe things are going to be changed. It was more like the flow of the book. It was just kind of hard to read. Not hard to read because of the topics, hard to read just the flow of it. So I'd say give it a shot if the storyline sounds good to you, but it wasn't the best book I've ever read. Then I read The Layover, which I'm sorry is another arc. I have read a few more arcs, but I think the rest of them are out already, so sorry. This comes out the 26th of June, so it's still a long time. I'm so sorry. But I really like this one. I gave it 4 stars. So Francesca, Leon, and what's she called? Gemma are on the way to Barcelona for a wedding. So it's Leon's sister, Francesca's best friend. No, Gemma's, oh, I can't even remember which one the girls are. It's one of the girls, it's her best friend, and the other girl, she is close with the groom, and then it's Leon's sister. And they're on the way to Barcelona and they get stuck in France. Yeah, France. And they basically have to spend the night together, all 3 of them. And honestly, it was a really fun book. I, for most of it, did not know who I kind of knew it was a romance, but I didn't know who it was going to be between, which I guess the romance wasn't incredible because I did not know who it was going to be between. In the end, I kind of thought it was going to be between the other girl and the boy, because obviously we knew it was going to be Leon. Well, maybe not. We kind of knew it was going to be Leon. I thought it was really fun, honestly. Just the whole kind of premise of it being stuck in an airport, forced proximity. It's set over honestly like 12 hours, 24 hours, and it was really fun. It was really, really fun. So I do recommend reading it when it comes out. You're also in all 3 perspectives. Also, this might just be me, but at the start I didn't know that the 2 girls were different, because I don't even know. I just saw a girl's name at the start of the chapter and I thought it was the same person until they met each other. I then read The Man She Married, and this book was incredible, and this one is out. I did receive it as an arc, but I ended up reading it after it came out, so there you go. You can go and read it. Beth is in a car accident and she wakes up and she does not have any memories, at least for the past 5 years. So she's now living in Cambridge. The last memory of hers is when she was working in a cafe in Australia. She does not remember going to England. She does not remember. COVID is a thing in the book. She doesn't remember any of it. And can I just say, the main man calls her Pookie. It's awful. It's actually awful. It did slightly scar me and it made me feel sick every time, and he does it a lot. So do prepare yourself mentally. Don't let that put you off the book, because the book's really good. But let me just say, did I tell you I gave it 4 stars? When she wakes up from this accident and doesn't have memory, she's told this guy's your husband, and obviously she doesn't remember him. And so he takes her to this house which has kind of nothing in it, like, you know, like no decorations or anything, and it's not a very nice situation with him. And you follow lots of different storylines, lots of different, you're trying to understand, because you also don't know what happened. You're kind of with her. It's in 3rd person, it's almost in her perspective, so you don't know what happened before, if that makes sense. I thought it was really good. I thought it was really, really, really good. I thought it was a really good book, and I thought as far as thrillers go, it was very good. Then I read French Press Love, which I'm just checking, but I believe this is also out already. It is also on Kindle Unlimited. Yeah, it came out January. So Jordan works in a coffee shop and needs to hire a new worker after one was really unreliable, so she had to fire them. And Nomi, I think that's how you say it. It's French. I assume it's Nomi, not Naomi. I'm just gonna call her Nomi. I'm assuming my accent for it is not very good. She comes in asking for a job because she's been cut off. She's this famous influencer who used to always come in and get coffee and always used to complain, and Jordan reluctantly says yes. And Jordan's best friend suddenly moves out, and so she's kind of stuck looking for a housemate or somewhere to live, and Nomi offers her to live with her. So they move in together. Goes from there. It is very slow burn, can I say, and also very messy, lots of miscommunication. What did I give it? I gave it a 3 star, so do with that what you will. Then I was about to pick up the wrong book. Apples Never Fall. I actually didn't read this version because my mum also owns one and she took her copy on holiday, so there was no point in me taking my copy on holiday when she had hers, so I read hers. So this kind of looks, shall I just like break the spine or something? I'm kidding. Make it look red. I didn't break the spine, don't worry. I actually am not against breaking spine. In this, Joy and Stan are married and they're 69. Yeah, just freshly retired. That sounds like such a weird sentence, freshly retired. Joy suddenly goes missing on Valentine's Day, and she has 4 children. They're this big tennis family, they own this tennis shop, quite well known in the area. Almost, could you say local celebrities? They're not like famous, but you know what I mean. People around them know who they are. Anyway, Joy goes missing, no explanation. She sends this text message to her children, but it's so confusing, it really doesn't make sense. And so the book follows both the few months leading up to when Joy disappeared, following Joy and everything. And in this timeline, Joy and Stan let this girl, what is she called? Savannah. So Savannah is a victim of domestic violence. So obviously trigger warning there, and she turns up on the doorstep and they kind of take her in. So you're following when that happens and also just the months after that. Sorry, it had to stop. Anyway, it follows, like I said, the 6 months before Joy disappears, and then also the present day where her children are looking for her. The police are involved, they're talking to a lot of different people. It is really good. I've read, this is now my 3rd book from this author, and they've all been really good. I read 9 Perfect Strangers and Big Little Lies. I would really recommend this, I really would. I got it from the works for really cheap, and it's also being made into a TV show. So okay, then I read Next to You, which was the 2nd book in the Next of Kin series. Well, no, the next one, whatever, in the next series, the 2nd book to Next of Kin, whatever. So it's the friend of, actually both the friends of Warren and Thingy, and they're called Lane and what's he called? I'm so bad with names. Matt. Okay, so Matt is Warren's best friend and Lane is Chloe's best friend, and Lane is kind of struggling at the moment, and so when she's drunk one night she buys a school bus on impulse because she sees some videos of people renovating it. So she decides she's going to do that because her dad left her a bit of inheritance money, and she kind of decides that is the type of thing he'd want her to spend it on. You know, he wouldn't want her to spend it on like something, I don't know, he'd want her to spend it on something fun. So she decides that's what she's going to do. And Matt is a mechanic with Warren from the 1st book, and so he agrees to help Lane renovate it as long as Lane helps with their graphic design, because Lane, like Chloe, is also a freelance graphic designer. So she does that in exchange for that. Goes from there, honestly. 4 stars, did I tell you that? It was so cute. It was Friends to Lovers, and I realised I've not read a good Friends to Lovers in so long, so I would really recommend it. Yeah, it was so good. Sorry, I'm kind of flying through them. I just realised how slow I spoke. So the last one that I read was The Flight. This is called The Last Flight in other countries. I don't know why there's a different name, by Julie Clark. So The Flight, The Last Flight, whatever you want to call it. It was really good. I gave it 4 stars. So Claire and Eva are both trying to escape their past, trying to get away from bad situations, and they meet at an airport and they decide to switch flights, but only one of them makes it to their destination. I'm not going to tell you which one because you don't need to know, you'll find out in the book. So one of them doesn't make it, the other one does. So the other one is trying to run away, use the other one's identity because they swap like purses, keys, everything, and she tries to make a new life for herself, but it doesn't work out and she doesn't really know what happened. And so you're following the one who survived in the days after the crash and the swap, and you're following the other one from 6 months before, and you kind of find out what they were running from, why, the stakes. It was really good. That is it. Those are the 15 books that I read. I'm very happy with them. I really like almost all of them, honestly, so I think I did a pretty good job. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe, please comment if you've read any of the books, maybe comment what books you liked, how many books you read in February, whatever you want. Comment because they really help my channel. That's it. I love you. Goodbye. Thank you for watching. Hopefully see you next time.